Hey everybody, I am back with another reading for you today. So I'm really happy to be back today with a reading for you because I know that I did one a couple days ago and I wanted to be able to offer and give a little bit more because of how out of control Venus retrograde has been feeling to me. So this means that in order for me to keep putting forth these readings, I'm putting in like these copious amounts of self-care and maintenance and management so that I'm really in a good place to do this for you. So if you need a reminder or you haven't seen any previous videos, right now we are in the middle of Venus retrograde in Scorpio. Venus will remain retrograde in Scorpio until about October 31st. And then it will move into retrograde in Libra until about November 17th. And all of this will eventually clear up after the post-shadow period around December 17th or so. So really, for the super sensitive people, you may not be out of the weeds until after the post-shadow. Those super sensitive people are Taurus, Libra, Scorpio, and individuals who have Libra, Scorpio, Taurus in their chart. So some of the things that may be going down during Venus retrograde is you might find your relationships on fire. You might meet mysterious, exciting people and want to jump out the window and take the plunge. In either of those cases, just be very mindful that whatever you're feeling during this transit may not be the same at the end of the transit. So there may be some sort of backtracking at some point, changing of minds. You just never know. So keep that in mind, that any type of relationship bonds broken or formed right now may not stay the course. Additionally, Venus rules our financial house. So if you're having some issues financially, like you're being hit with stuff that's costing you money, or you may not seem to have enough money to go around, don't go splurging, avoid it as much as possible, and, be meager with it. Be meager with it. Make a budget that you'll probably start doing. We're getting close to the holidays. We're getting close to New Year's. I know lots of resolutions come up about spending, getting out of debt, all those types of things. So just be careful. Avoid these big ticket purchases, homes, cars, business investments, lending someone a copious amount of money. You might not get it back. Have a contract. But those are some of the things with Venus, as well as how we feel about ourselves. You might be feeling a little bit down about yourself, how you look, how you feel. You might be an emotional wreck, which I'm apt to be at various points without warning. Just be patient and kind with yourself in that regard, okay? And that's really the Venus retrograde in a nutshell. Totally look up online if you're interested. Lots of articles, lots of wonderful astrologers who have, the week by week horoscopes that can let you know where you could be, stand right now. So today I did pull from 3 decks: Enchanted Map, Whispers of Healing, and my Journey of Love deck. I actually got a jumper card out of the map deck, so I'm excited about that. Instead of 3 cards, I have 4 cards. So we'll get right into it. At the end, I want to talk about the next retrograde. Hopefully I won't forget, but I really wanted to touch upon that because before you know it, it'll be here. So I just wanted to discuss that. Hopefully I will not forget anything I need to convey during this reading. All right. So the first card from the map deck is the Strength card in reverse. Okay, so this is where we just were, and it still fits into the whole idea of interpersonal relationships, relationship with ourselves, and yeah, that's really what this is about. So what this card is saying is basically twofold. 1, come together with a way to nourish, support your body so that you can have energy. Make sure you are self-caring yourself and getting rest accordingly, as well as, your diet may need revisiting. We are now in Vata season. If you follow any type of Ayurvedic practices or have at least heard of Ayurveda, Vata season is a season where it's time to really start eating cooked vegetables, soups, stews, etc. So the other day I put together kale with super grains and all of that, made that so I could eat that on a daily basis because I'm supposed to have greens every day. And especially the cooked kind. So doing something like that, this is a good time to solidify your morning routine. I have a solid morning routine. This is a part of my self-care. I wake up and I meditate. I burn my incense. I be very quiet. I do my affirmations. I try to think things through. I feel through my feelings. And that's how I nurture me. So if you're starting to feel depleted, or you're starting to feel differently, maybe your skin is out of whack because the season is changing, you might need to do some additional hydration, maybe you need a little bit more water in your diet, just see where you are and just make the changes accordingly. The other piece of this is bonds of relationships potentially weakening. This is par for the course. Venus rules Libra. Libra, we are in Libra season now. Libra is all about partnerships and relationships. And if you were watching my last video, you noticed that I said now this is a time where you might find your tribe. You might notice they were already there all along, but this is a time where you're really going to see who is it and who is not in terms of your inner circle. So just take some time to feed in to those relationships that have some value to you. If we don't feed into certain relationships, they will start weakening. It doesn't mean it's a bad relationship. It just means that it needs some TLC. So more immediately, you may have been trying to give TLC to certain relationships, or you've taken notice that some relationships aren't necessarily what you thought they were, even if they have been around a long time, long term, it's something you were used to in your life, and you may have noticed that it's not what you thought it was any longer. So that's what this strength card is about. Going and strengthening the bonds of the relationships that are meaningful for you, and then understanding that, sometimes things have to play their course. Okay? And then the next card is the Moonlight card. The Moonlight card is all about intuition. See, the moon governs our feelings and our emotions. So we all have a moon sign. I recommend you learning your moon sign if you don't know it already. My moon sign is Sagittarius, which means I can get a little bit fiery with my emotions sometimes. But, hey, it's fire. But this is about your intuition, all right? Don't ignore it. If something isn't sitting right with you, it's okay to address it. It's okay to walk away from it. Don't second guess yourself, because at the end of the day, only you really have to live with your feelings, nobody else. So pay attention to what's happening inside, how you're reacting, how you're feeling, what your energy is doing. Pay attention to that inner voice that's coming through to basically, set off an alarm bell, or it could be to give you a green light. Either way, pay attention to that voice inside, and that'll help you be on the right track. Now, of course, in paying attention to the voice inside, you've got to be connected with the self. So that means meditating, yoga. I'm going to tell you, I haven't been on my mat in any serious capacity in a long time because I had an injury. But today, I went back to it, and it was just everything that I needed. That's my thing. You might have a thing. Maybe your thing is running or swimming or art, something. Get connected to the thing that puts you in your zone, and then that's how you get connected closely to your inner voice, your intuition. Okay, the last card for this, well, almost the last card for this deck, listening. And I love that this listening one came up, because when I was in the getting ready today, looking in a mirror, I said to myself, I said, I feel like I need to tell everyone that they should pay attention to what's being said around them, what people are choosing to share and disclose, and seeing how that can give you some sort of answers, or kind of like a push for your own journey or for the development of your own values. I had a conversation with someone recently, and they were telling me, the whole story of how they met their spouse and how it all transpired and what they said and did. And it was just like, wow. And this person never did intend to get into that I'm a stranger, get into that kind of stuff with a stranger. But it was something they felt compelled to share. But it was also something I needed to hear. Because sometimes when we develop values for ourselves and we don't see things coming together in accordance with our values, we start second guessing them. Or second guessing ourselves. And to hear somebody come out and say something that is so in alignment with your own personal values, and they saw it through and it worked out, it gives you a little bit of a push. That's how I see it. So pay attention. I know we get really distracted with the things we're watching, the things we're thinking about, the things we're doing, but eavesdrop a little bit. Or maybe if someone says something to you, instead of brushing them off, just listen a little bit more. Hear what's being said. The other part is recognize what's not being said. That's important too. Recognize the things that people are not saying, that are not coming up, that are being avoided. Think about the things that you're not saying, that you're avoiding to say. But regardless, in this time, try to listen twice as much as you speak right now, because you might get an answer to something you've been uncertain about, or the push you need to go in a direction that you should be in. Okay, and this last card, wide open, was it flipped out the deck, so it's a bonus card. Wide open. The wide open card means that everything you want can be out there in the big vast world for you. The things you're looking for, it is open to you. The only thing is, it's easy to see blocks in what you want happening if you don't really know what you want. And this is why establishing a value system is important. I have a strategy screen. I've talked about it. I have a couple strategy screens. I talk about it quite often on these videos. A strategy screen is a set of criteria that you apply to any area of your life to help you make a decision about that area of your life. So if you're looking for a job, for example, you might want to write down 4 or 5 things that this new gig must have for you to accept it. Maybe there's some sort of salary requirement. Maybe there's some sort of work-life balance you're looking for, and you can do this for any element of your life. And having a strategy screen is perfect because it's always a fallback when you veer too far off the course. Another way that things could be prevented from coming to you, the things that you feel that you want, is when your actions are not in congruence with your values. If you say you want something very specific and you know what it is, your actions have to match that. When your actions match your values, you really cannot lose. It's when we do the opposite of what we say we want or what we say we value that we get into trouble and that we get disappointed. So put your values first. Of course, you must know what they are, so write them down and be very detailed. I went out to dinner with a friend and I told her, I said, look, write down the life that you want to have on paper and be very explicit. Be very detailed. Just write down what you're really looking for. And that's the way you can help your mind work through scenarios of what's what. Okay? And I got two more. One is the love deck and one is the healing deck. So I'm going to go with the Whispers of Healing. This is about positive-minded people. And again, this falls into our whole idea of us finding our tribe. And this card is basically saying that pay attention to how you feel after you are around people, after you've been communicating with people. Don't feel guilty if you want to take some steps back or avoid certain situations and individuals who are maybe depleting for you or give you an uncomfortable feeling. Sometimes we do feel guilty about these sorts of things, especially if this is our family or someone we've been friends with a long time, and we start feeling very uncomfortable and we feel bad about that. It's just saying, you know what? Don't feel guilty about doing what you need to do to protect your energy, and spend your time about people who are going to regularly uplift you and just bring things up for you. Who can identify, wow, I feel that one of the things my best friend says to me is, she says, I sense that you're feeling heavy, so I'm reaching out to check on you. Something's not up, and then that turns into, let's go out. You can need some friend time, or she'll say, I need some friend time. Can you meet up with me? And that is what I mean about tribe and positive-minded people. People who are going to be like, oh my gosh, are you all right? Come on, let's talk through it. Let's work it out. And that's what this is about. Take some time to analyze who is in your life and how that makes you feel, and what that exchange looks like. What that give and take looks like, what that ebb and flow is like within the context of your relationship. And this is the perfect time to do it during Venus, because this is all about partnerships. And usually people who are Libras are very diplomatic, and we like to kind of keep things in a smooth way. But now that our ruler is in retrograde, it's kind of like we're like, all of that flew out the window, and we're just being a little bit more forward with what we need and what we don't need. And you might be feeling that too. That's something kind of a little slightly uncomfortable for me, but sometimes things have to be done, and you got to sit with yourself and just analyze and put together all of the pieces of what you want your relationships to look like and what you don't want them to look like. And now that we're coming around the holidays, you might be running into some family, friends, acquaintances that we may not be meshing with as much. Just focus on the person you want to be, and it will help you navigate interactions with others. Okay, and the last card is Beauty from the Love deck. And I feel like for this card to come up in the middle of Venus retrograde, where a lot of us are probably feeling like, oh my gosh, I look horrific, it might be a tall order. But I'm going to say that it's not a tall order, simply because I feel like this Beauty card is rooted in the whole idea of gratitude. Be grateful, because things could be worse. If you aren't loving the way that you are presenting to the world right now, work harder to embrace it. You are who you are and deserve to be accepted the way that you are. And you don't have to change for anyone if you don't want to. And being okay with that. That's what this Beauty card is. Seeing the beauty in you. When you see the beauty in you, you can more so see the beauty in others. When you can see the beauty in you and stick to what you stand for and your presence and what your offering is into this world, you can respect what others' part in this world is. You can respect what others' place in your life is. It really supports equitable partnerships and compassion and just, I would say, peace, but really gratitude. Because when you think about it, if you say, oh my gosh, I'm overweight, I look fat, or I'm getting wrinkles, switch it around. Well, if you're getting a little fat, that means you're eating well, right? If you're getting some wrinkles, are they smiley wrinkles? You know, you smiled, or you've gotten wisdom with age, you know. But also too, if you don't like your wrinkles or what your skin looks like, you can always go back to what I was saying with the strength card and, you know, get some self-care routines up, drink more water, try a new product. It's fine. Just try not to let it get you down. Now this is an easy time for us to feel low about ourselves and our circumstances, but it's also a good time to accept it. Accept where we are and feel how that feels. And it may not feel amazing, but feel how it feels. Accept who you are, okay? And I did not forget, I wanted to talk about one of the next retrogrades coming up. So right now, we might be in Jupiter retrograde and Scorpio, like post-shadow. Jupiter retrograde is a big deal because it can really transform your life. And there was Jupiter retrograde in Libra last year, I think, and I went through like the crazy transformation. It was mind-blowing. So Jupiter will be going into pre-shadow for its retrograde in Sagittarius sometime in January, I think. So right after Venus retrograde shadow was done in mid-December, a couple weeks later, Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius. Now, if you're not a Sagittarius, hey, you may not have an issue. Or if you don't have your Jupiter in Sagittarius in your chart, then you might be good too. But for people like me, who have a moon sign of Sag and Jupiter is in Sagittarius in my chart, I'm just trying to keep a pulse on what's going to be happening in my life for 2019. So I'm really excited about that. I'll probably be doing, of course, some videos about that as we get closer to it, as I'm super excited because I feel like it means tremendous growth and change for me in the physical plane. So I hope that means more work within my purpose, more reaching out, speaking to people, back in yoga for real, for real. So I'm really hoping that's what 2019 looks like for me. Okay, so I didn't want to forget about that. All right, so I know I'm going on quite long because I have time to do so today. So I hope you're able to catch the whole video. And I will be working to put up another one over the weekend, maybe Sunday, Monday, all right? But I'm here if you need me. Thanks for watching. Namaste.